Welcome to Stories with Lynn. Stories with Lynn are warm stories. My friends say that they're memorable. They urge me to share them with you. I hope you find them refreshing. I hope you find them a lift for your day. Oh, and be forewarned, because there may be a surprise in them. Because don't all good stories have a surprise in them? Welcome to Stories with Lynn. Montana, Friday, Fairy Lake. This is one of my favorite stories. It's a trip that my bride Melody and I took to see our kids, daughter Amanda and son-in-law John, in Bozeman, Montana. We were lucky enough to take our good friends Robert and Wendy, both avid outdoors people. The wonderful thing about this trip is that each day had its own story, worthy of writing, worthy of telling you, and this is my favorite. Come with me on this adventure. Montana, Friday, Fairy Lake. Today is a hike to Fairy Lake, where we'll picnic and fish some. The lake is well named. It is a pristine mountain lake semicircled by Hardscrabble and Sacagawea peaks in the Bridger Mountains. We park at a parking lot below and walk up the road toward the lake. The nice thing about hiking on a road is that groups intermingle. Smaller groups form and disband, couples, and not just spouses, chat. There are many things to talk about in the unforced atmosphere of a hike, or not to talk about as we hike together easily along the road. Sometimes comfortable silence makes for great companionship. There are many beautiful views, many natural wonders, a flower, a rock pattern, or a mountain outcropping to discover and share. Sometimes we point them out to each other. Sometimes we merely point with our eyes and smile together. It is easy with family and good friends that are as family. We come to a place near a small lake, pretty close to the larger Fairy Lake, where the ladies decide that they want to see a view from a particular point. We guys want to start fishing, so we separate, each group going to their own adventure. The ladies' happy chatter diminishes as they go their way. We guys do not have far to go. But as we come to a place where we can overlook and see Fairy Lake, it's obvious that this lake is still totally frozen over in this late April, springtime. No fishing here today. Robert wants to continue down the hill to the shore to see the lay of the land. But I have been to this lake on a previous trip and determined that I can stay here and wait for them to return. John says he'll go with Robert. The trail switched back straight down from me to the shore, where there's a fairly extensive picnic area. It is not that far, but I decided it's a good time for a break, and it will be nice not to hike down, only to have to turn around and hike back up. We shuck our packs, putting them on the uphill embankment of the trail, and the two start down the lake. I hear their conversation and watch them as they descend to the lake and begin to circle the shore. I am alone in the wild. The forest is lush and dense in this rejuvenating time of early spring. New growth sprouts along the path as the snow has receded, leaving moisture to revive the foliage. It is beautiful in the forest, with the barely seen mountains in the background. is quiet. The only sound is the sighing and swishing of the pine boughs waving in the wind. When that white noise becomes monotonous, all that can be heard is silence. There is a profound stillness here, the hush of the forest. I am alone in the wild. I blink. I blink again. A chill has passed through me, colder than the wind ruffling my sweatshirt. I am alone in the wild. My eyes search areas just seen with this new sense. My alertness increases each moment as I become more aware of the situation that I have placed myself in. I am alone in the wild. This is not my home. This is not my place. This is the home of wild creatures much more learned and adept in this environment. They survive here on their brawn and on their strength and on their skill and on their instinct. I am a visitor, up until this moment totally unaware of the reality around me. This is their home, their rules, and those rules are not in my favor at all. I am not afraid, or let me say that fear remains at a controllable level, heightening my alertness and sharpening my senses. I must keep that fear at that level, not allowing it to give way to rashness or panic, regardless of how my situation might change or what might come along. I must keep my wits about me. I have resources, even in this situation. I call upon my instinct, that resource long dormant in our species and unknown, unused by me until this moment. My instinct tells me that there is nothing in my immediate presence. Only the sharpened realization that I have placed myself in a potentially very dangerous position. That is what my instinct, this newfound tool so long ignored, tells me. There is nothing out there. Here, Wendy told us a story earlier this week. She said she was lagging behind her group on a hike in a forest. As she hurried to catch up, she had a peculiar sense that something was following her. The ranger, hearing the story, said she was probably right. Mountain lions creep along, hoping to pick off stragglers. Wendy's instinct did not fail her then. My instinct tells me there is nothing around me now. I trust to it. I need tools. My only advantages are tools and the use of my intellect. I look around. The trees are no resource. The brittle dead pine boughs low enough for me to climb upon cannot support my weight. A mountain lion can climb much faster than I can anyways. What are my other tools? A feeling passes over me. This subconscious, this newly discovered instinct must be alive in me. I wish I had a rifle. Mr. Johnson, long dead, my mentor in firearms and hunting, has passed over me with a thought and an insight. Mr. Johnson said that a firearm is a tool that one can stand behind in a moment of need, and it will become, in that moment, your best friend. I wish I had a best friend now. Mr. Johnson also said that when you are hunting, don't look downwind. Game won't come from downwind. This is the insight, the gift from Mr. Johnson and my instinct. While keeping a watch all around, I keep my main attention downwind. because that is the direction that something could smell me. Tools. Tools, what do I have? Rocks, no, they are not the right size. They are also only one shot, especially with my rusty, inaccurate arm. And there is none big enough to be a basher. A basher would be much too late anyways. It would be knocked from my hands before I could use it. No. Branches as clubs? No, there are no sturdy branches, only the brittle pine boughs. A ski pole? No, this flimsy cannot help me. An animal has 10 sharp claws, sharp and deadly, that would tear me apart before I could use the thing, not to mention the teeth. A pole would merely snap in the uneven combat. No. Bear spray. John has bear spray. That's the best tool I have. Where is it? I turn over John's pack. It cannot be inside, I think incredulously. No, it is right here in a sleeve. I pull the canister from the sleeve. How do you use it? I clench my teeth at my foolishness, the naivete in my preparations for this hike. How do you use it? I don't know. I never asked Amanda or John to show me. The bear spray is a canister with a trigger guard on top and a plastic cover around and above the trigger guard. Do you hold the canister and wrap your finger around and through the trigger guard? Or do you hold the trigger guard with your fist against the side of the canister? What an insecure way to hold a weapon. How can you aim like that? There is a small gray fitting opposite the trigger guard. I decide that this must be the muzzle. This must be where the spray comes out. Poor aim or not, insecure or not, I bet my life on this, if it comes to that. Take a moment. Breathe. Inhale deeply, out slowly. Look carefully around, especially downwind. Do not be surprised. Maintain initiative. There is nothing out there. Study again. The orange plastic cover is certainly a safety. Do you push it away with your thumb or grasp the tab with the meat of your thumb and pull it down? Since it wraps around the trigger and over the trigger guard, it must also shield that trigger. There's not much orange safety within the trigger guard, so I wonder what kind of trigger there is. Even so, I decide not to disengage the safety. The trigger must be intuitive. Triggers are. I will not break away the orange plastic until I have to use the weapon. Nothing is out there right now. I can read the instructions. I turn the canister around, and as I see the instructions, my nostrils flare and my teeth clench anew. They are in small print, in 3 languages. I can see the do nots. Do not spray into the wind. Do not spray until within range. What is this? I need to know how to use this thing. Now. These people are living in a thin veneer of civilization, a paper-thin jargon world of multicultural marketing and liability minimization. I am alone in the wild. I need this information. How I wish for picture instructions like in an airliner that could instruct me immediately. Quenching my hostility, I carefully read the instructions, all the while maintaining knowledge of my surroundings. I learn how to use the weapon. It says the spray is effective only out to 6 feet and will spray for 8 seconds. The instructions caution, do not spray too soon. What? My mind considers my potential predators. An 800-pound grizzly bear can charge at 40 miles an hour. That's 50 yards in 3 seconds or less. A mountain lion cannot be much slower and will be closer. I can only see maybe 40 yards in this forest brush. If an animal appears and then charges me, I will fire short bursts as soon as they start. I have 2, maybe 3 shots in this canister. Mentally, I sketch out a 6-foot circle around me. This is my last ditch. How small 6 foot is. Small or not, I will try to have one last shot there. I will keep my cool on my first shot or shots to reserve that. This is my last ditch. I have made my preparations. Here I will stay. To move would only create noise, attract attention. Moreover, I do not know where John and Robert are down the hill anyways. I could move to a worse situation without being any closer to whatever safety 3 people might provide. I lay the bear spray canister down on the embankment in front of me. What a puny weapon. How I wish I had a rifle. But this is what I have. I have made my best choices in the circumstances I have placed myself in. Here I stand, grim, determined. Chagrined at my innocent naivete, but as ready as I can be for whatever may come. I am alone in the wild. I search with my whole being, conscious and subconscious. There is nothing out there. Three minutes pass. 5. I maintain my razor sharp focus. 10 minutes pass. Then, soon enough, and entirely not soon enough, I hear welcome commotion below on the trail. The shuffling of feet and the rise and fall of conversation. It is John and Robert. They come up, tell me of the lake, and we put on our packs. I do not tell them of my vulnerability, although John looks at the bear spray on the embankment and then to me with a questioning look. We will talk sometime, but not now. I have lived in another world for these past minutes, and the experience leaves me deeply unsettled. I try successfully, I imagine, not to show it. But I remain quiet and very, very aware of my surroundings. I am no longer alone in the wild. We go back to the smaller lake below. It is free of ice and we can fish there. It is a beautiful little lake surrounded almost entirely by the pine forest. It is bigger than a good-sized farm pond, but not much. We break out our fishing equipment and start working our way around the lake, each going to the place that seems to offer the best chance to catch fish. As that most favored place changes for each of us with repeated casts, I find myself somewhat separated from the other two. I cannot shake my unsettled feeling, even though I know the noise of the 3 of us will warn away any wild animal. I find myself looking behind me with frequency, looking into the pine woods so close to the edge of the lake, so close to me. There is nothing out there, but I continue to check. The unsettled feeling, while banked, does not leave me. Finally, I give up the fishing. None of us have had the slightest nipple. It strikes me that this lake very well may have frozen solid in the depth of the Montana winter. The immediate geography does not indicate that this lake would drop steeply to depth. There may indeed be no fish in this lake at all. That's good enough. Plus I'm hungry. So I go over to where John is relaxing into his lunch and join him. While we are eating, we are treated to a new phenomenon, at least for me. There is a stiff wind blowing over Sacagawea Peak into the Fairy Lake Valley. Along with that wind comes clouds from the other side, rolling and broiling over, thick and tumbling. But within a short distance, not even to the lake, the rolling clouds thin and absolutely dissipate, like the end of a jet of steam from a tea kettle. What is obviously happening is that on one side of the mountain there is abundant moisture and humidity that supports lush clouds, and abruptly on our side of the mountain the atmosphere is so dry that the clouds totally and completely evaporate before our eyes. It is mesmerizing to see great cloud, malevolent and churning, race over the mountaintop at us and then thin away from view. Over and over, each thunderous cloud hurtles towards us, and just as they become personally threatening, the billows miraculously disappear in front of our eyes. It is a natural movie of incredible power and mystery. It is another reminder of just how small I am. After lunch, I lay back in the meadow grass. The wind blows over me, but I am low enough that the warmth of the sunshine is evident. I close my eyes, but it is at best a shallow, fitful rest based on my recent, deeply intimate scare of aloneness, and the further meteorological example of my insignificance. I hear the girls approach, laughing and chatting. Melody comes up to me and touches me on my shoulder. Her touch goes through to my soul. I sit up and share with her the beauty of this place, although I do not tell her of my recent personal experience. We sit together, always touching somewhere, a knee, an elbow, or hands together. I quieten. The cookies she has brought help some too. I lay back down in the grass. In the comfort of her touch, I sleep. Thank you for joining me on Stories with Lynn. You can help me. If you enjoyed these stories, please like and subscribe. That's the lifeblood of these channels. Share this with your friends. Please comment. Tell me what this story invoked with you. What memories came to you through this story? And if you know of other wonderful stories you'd like to hear on Stories with Lynn, please put that in the comments. Thanks again. Thank you for joining me at Stories with Lynn.